Ikmal David, Adonai Roy La'asor. Deshi Argentini, they Nicholas in Haleni. Psalm of David, God is my shepherd, I shall not lack. In the meadows he lays me down, beside tranquil waters he leads me. Full view of my tormentors, anoint my head with oil and the cup overflows. October Chesmi, the fruit in Koyim, Mechayai, Mishapi, Grace, Adonai La'urech Lami. Goodness and kindness consume the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Almighty for eternity of days. Gather to take final leave of Lillian Routman, Lillian Bas Yosef Chaim, and the good fortune of knowing the Routmans family over 30 years. Ronnie mentioned yesterday, in some ways it's celebration of life. Which makes sense on an Erev Shabbos, Friday afternoon, when in general eulogies are kept to a minimum. Seems quite appropriate for a woman that lived a long and fruitful life. Though I had a chance to meet the family yesterday and speak about or perhaps more in-depth and fond memories of my own personal interaction with her. Going back in early years, and more recently in Menorah Park and Myers, she never lost that sparkle for life. I was amazed yesterday when Sherry told me that just a few years ago, in her 90s, she went traveling with Alaska and whitewater rafting, which is something that sheds something a little about a certain sparkle for life, a certain appreciation for life. I will do it myself. That's something which is that adventuresome type of a spirit that I always saw myself. Lillian was raised in Cleveland. She's an only child. She had a strong work ethic. Although she never completed her college, honestly, it might have been because of anti-Semitism actually that was somewhat forced out. But she had a strong work ethic. She became an accountant, an accomplished accountant, and even after years of retirement, she used her skills often to help other people, library, help people do taxes. Granddaughter told me yesterday she's one of the only people that she knew that actually enjoy taxes. The King Solomon says in Proverbs, Eishes chayil miyitza v'rachok mitmini michra. A woman of valor, who can be found? How rare it is, more rare than pearls. It goes on to enumerate the qualities and characteristics of the Jewish matriarch. There's certain qualities that she personifies as far as his trustworthiness to her family, the love for her family, the devotion to her family. It was amazing just listening yesterday, speaking to the family, how she fit so many of those criteria, the quintessential Yiddish Bubby. Coming from her as only child herself, which again, she had an extended family, which she was very close. I had the opportunity of knowing some of the family members myself, also cousins. And then her devotion to her children, 7 grandchildren, 7 great-grandchildren for that matter. It was a beautiful, just getting together yesterday, and all the grandchildren were there, but quite a few of them were there. Just the recollections of their grandmother. Just that sense, seeing that sense of family connectedness, the closeness of the family together is such a beautiful thing to be able to see. Unfortunately, it's not that common. That sense of a connection of siblings, cousins, nieces, nephews, to aunts and uncles, grandchildren and great-grandchildren. And she was one of them mentioned yesterday, she was the glue that held them all together. Her husband, Daddy passed away over 20 years ago, 20 years ago, 22 years ago. She was the glue in many ways that kept the family together. Hanukkah gatherings, in which all the family was able to be together, be able to enjoy it together. There was a certain sense of Yiddishkeit to it. That sense of pride that she had in her Jewishness and being able to raise a Jewish family. Though she was not necessarily very active, because I knew her personally, she was a member of my shul. Shul itself's been gone for 30 years now. But almost 30 years. But that's interesting, the relationship itself extended beyond that. Not that she wasn't active necessarily in the shul, but she certainly personified so many Jewish qualities, so many Jewish ideals. And I knew from, again, through her children, Tamani and Sherry, also their families, an opportunity of being able to see up front, to see firsthand. That sense of how the grandchildren, the different type of memories of dedication to them, they could do no wrong. She literally turned a blind eye, so to say, to any mischief, any trouble that they would make, not even telling their parents about it for that matter, because of that sense of love, because she meant it meant a lot to her. All of their accomplishments in life, be it in sports, be it in academic accomplishments, she was able to take part, and she was excited, genuinely excited about it. They'd be happy to share it with her because of the excitement, the sense of pride, the nachas, how she would kivel, so to say. Which is a Yiddish expression that really can't be translated. But that sense of great pride that she had in her children and grandchildren's accomplishments too. As I said before, she was a very adventurous soul. And that brought about a certain sense of an enjoyment of life, simchas achayim, that sense of joy, a sense of appreciation for small things. It didn't have to be anything necessarily that was so great. Not a person of great means necessarily, but take pleasure in the small things in life. Those are some of the things that are mentioned, some of the things that the grandchildren mentioned that they learned to value from her, to value family, to value friendship. I'm amazed. They said, Gabby mentioned to me yesterday, until a few years ago, she had a circle of friends from kindergarten. Spanned over a period of almost 90 years. She was the last one remaining, the last one left standing, so to say. That sense of friendship also. These are all qualities that will live long time, and it's the ideals that she instilled into their family. But appreciation for friendship, appreciation for family and for also. We're holding right now the Jewish calendar, the period of what's called the 3 weeks. The period that marks the mourning of grief for the destruction of the temple. The first and second temple in Jerusalem was 2,500 years ago and 2,000 years ago. The rabbis tell us the second temple was destroyed because of sinas chinam, because of lack of friendship. And that sense, that lack of loyalty to one another, that sense of a lack of caring for one another. The rabbis tell us that that's why the temple was destroyed 2,000 years ago. The Jew aspires every single day for the rebuilding of the temple. It hasn't been built yet, it hasn't been rebuilt yet. That means to say that on some level, those ideas of friendship, loyalty, care, concern, and sensitivity have not yet been rectified, have not yet been fixed up. We mark today the life of a person that really personified that sense of joy, that sense of care, that sense of concern, that sense of feeling for a family, for extended family, and for friends. It's not something to be taken lightly. A life that lived, thank God, lived that long, 96 years, almost 97 years. And it's like the family, friends that are here can mark that life, something to take home. As we say goodbye to her, It's something that we have as an interesting custom. Returning from the cemetery, it's customary before entering into a house to wash your hands. You should set up the water outside of the house to wash the hands. What's not as commonly known is there's also a custom not to dry the hands. Shake them perhaps, drip them off, not to dry them. The significance of that is the fact that as we move on, we wash our hands. We can't get stuck too deep into the past. But we can't forget it either. We don't dry our hands. We carry the past with us together as we go into the future. So take leave over here. Life, a long, fruitful life, a life of a person that enjoyed life, a person that loved life. They love family, they love friends, love their Jewishness, love God. Those are all characteristics and qualities we want to take with us. Things to be able to develop, to be able to cherish, to be able to hold on to. And our personal lives is important for us. Shmos Tzura B'Tzora Chayim. Remember, we bound, the eternal bond of life. Mocha D'noi Dina Me'al Kol Panim. Almighty, wipe away the tears, the waters. That she lived a fruitful life. Nevertheless, it's always hard to say goodbye. Perhaps Ron mentioned to me yesterday, perhaps he really didn't think that he would cry. It's still something, it's a mother's a mother. Parent is a parent, no matter what age they be. So take leave of this right now. It's something to focus on, perhaps in our own lives. The qualities and characteristics that she upheld. Positive ones. Being able to take those and perhaps integrate them into our own lives as well.
Honestly, I didn't even know where to begin and what to talk about. With Ryder running around the room and Anna laying on my lap, I tried sitting down to write something that could possibly do justice to such an incredible woman. She was the best, and she wore the title Grandma with pride. She was not only grandma to all of her grandchildren and great-grandchildren, but our significant others, our friends, and anyone else who needed some extra love. When Grandma's closest lifelong friends passed away, she adopted their grandchildren as well and would take them out to some of her favorite places like Eat at Joe's. Grandma had this incredible way of making everyone feel so special, loved, and supported. Everyone looked forward to her famous Memorial Day picnics at her house on Silsby. The day was filled with food, laughter, kids running around, playing in the sandbox, ping pong, running bases, watching the parade, and eating too much candy. Going to Grandma's was always the best. She was also the hostess of the best Hanukkah celebrations growing up, including several rounds of bingo and pin the tail on the donkey. She would find a way to make sure all of us grandchildren eventually won. And the prizes would be lottery scratch-offs and souvenirs that she collected from her travels around the world. As a kid, I just thought this was normal. I didn't realize until later how unique and special she made everything. Grandma had such an adventurous spirit. She traveled and filled her days with activities and social outings for as long as she could. I always remember hearing about Grandma's worldly travels, and we went on vacations together to Iceland, Spain, Florida, Disney World, and a road trip to Graceland, with a small detour to visit the Jack Daniel's distillery. And my mom was just a normal sight, but there was no other grandma quite like her. After a night out with Grandma, we would drop her off at Myers. And Ricardo would walk arm in arm with her into the building. She would either dig through her purse trying to find her keys, or the guard would let her in. And Grandma always told us it felt like she was sneaking back into her dorm. Grandma went to Ohio State, but she mentioned that she never got to go to a football game because she had to work. So one year we got tickets, and she got to experience her first OSU football game. It was snowing and unbearably cold, and we all wanted to leave, except for Grandma. She was just on cloud 9 at her first OSU game, so the rest of us just toughened up and stayed until the end of the game. Grandma left such an impression on everyone she met. She was just the sweetest soul, and people didn't expect her to be so funny, witty, and also telling dirty jokes. Everyone said that she had the best smile, and she also had a sparkle in her eye. Grandma's memory will live on in everything we do. She touched all aspects of our lives, and when it came to her children and all of her grandchildren and great-grandchildren, her heart just swelled with pride. She lived a long, full, loving, adventurous life, and I don't think she realized it, but she was and will always be such an inspiration to us on how to treat others and how to live your best life. She would always say how lucky she was, but truthfully, we were the lucky ones to have her.
time, we're going to, in place of earth within the grave, we'll start with the immediate family. Other friends who don't participate in this honor, you come forward at this time. Please, when you're shoveling, don't pass the shovel from person to person. You just put the shovel down or put it back in the pile of earth.
It's okay.
Always a smile.
So lo que no deseas es Warner's Cottage. Oh, man.
Amen. Hey, Rabbah Mibarak Le'olam Me'omayo. I didn't mention before all the family members, Dr. Sherry Routman, Uncle, grandchildren, Jocelyn, David, Joey, Jessica, Ricardo, Julia, Dr. Eric, Matt, Zach and Jane Routman, Melissa, Lewis, and great grandmother. Family will be receiving visitors today at the home of Ron and Gail Routman, 32775 Red Show Drive in Seoul.
hours. I'd like to at this time ask everyone except the immediate mourners to create an aisle right here, facing one another. So it's just an aisle so you can walk through, you'll face one another. This aisle is called the Shura. It's the aisle of consolation. Allow the family to know they're not walking alone. Christ, grandchildren. As a family members. And then folks, you can close this aisle in behind them. It's kind of you're pushing them on to the next step, the next stage. Services at this time are concluded. Thank you. Be good, Walter. Hello, how you doing?